Liberal Democrats' position on climate change and net zero?
Well, I guess it's like this. The view of the party is that, you know, the rest. Sorry, if you believe in climate change, the solutions being put up are very destructive. And really, if you do want to make changes, then you should be doing it through market mechanisms, free market mechanisms, letting private enterprise provide the solutions. So we're saying, for example, that we should remove subsidies that are there. You know, we should have a level playing field in the electricity and the energy supply sectors, remove the subsidies, get rid of things like renewable energy target, take away the ban on nuclear power, and let, you know, cheap, affordable, reliable energy be put in place to take this country forward.
People say we've got to give the industry a kickstart, though, don't they? You know.
Yeah, but that is the.
It's been a long kickstart.
That's the sort of the message of self-interested bodies that are, you know, and organisations that are looking for a government dollar, you know. And look, I'm, you know, another one I'd try on you is that often these days, particularly the left, say, nuclear power, it's too expensive. And my response is, well, we're not saying that nuclear power is going to get up. What we're saying is get rid of the ban. Yep. And then the private sector can put up proposals for nuclear power, probably small modular reactors, that have to be operated safely and carefully, etc., all the safety standards. But if they stack up, the private sector will do it. They can't do it while there's a ban. So for people who say it won't stack up, well, they've got nowhere to go when you actually talk about, well, the problem is the ban. So anyway, we're saying we shouldn't be picking sides in the energy debate. You know, I personally love renewables. I've got solar panels at home. I've got a battery as well. I'm almost self-sufficient in terms of electricity consumption. So I have no problem with championing sustainability. That's a different issue. Yeah. But I don't believe we should be destroying the Australian economy on something that is not a level playing field globally, and we'll see our economy decimated, and importantly as well, developing nations not have the important energy resources they need to develop.
Well, that's one of the most sort of serious moral issues in relation to this, I think, is the fact that developing nations do need fossil fuel energy. Or they're going to need some sort of decent transitional cheap energy, or they won't be able to develop. There's a serious
there is a big
poverty issue.
But by the way, just to then give you a personal position on climate change. Yeah. So this is a personal issue, and it is shared by many of my colleagues. But I put it to you like this: 15 years ago, I believed that we might be seeing climate change. What do I think today? Well, I'm very sceptical. So why is that? Well, I watched An Inconvenient Truth many years ago. When I was mayor, we planted 2 million trees. We took the council to be 100% green energy. Imagine 5,000 kilometres of roads in Brisbane with streetlights that were all renewable energy. So we made some big moves on the sustainability front, which again I have no problem with. But all the predictions in that film basically failed to come to pass. To fruition, if I go further back, I can show you articles from Australian newspapers from 1987, 88, 89, 90. What did they say? 1 to 2 metre increase in sea level here on Moreton Bay in Brisbane. Hasn't happened. 1 to 2 degrees increase in global temperatures. Hasn't happened. No snow at the no ice at the North Pole. Hasn't happened. No skiable snow within 40 years. This was in 1989. Okay. Well, we've just had snow and it's November.
Can we afford?
I could go on. So,
it's Australia can't afford.
So my challenge to people is all the warnings that I read in my 20s in the newspapers in the late 1980s. All those warnings are exactly the same as the warnings today. The language has only got more hysterical, but the warnings were basically the same. It didn't come true within the time frame specified. Back then, I can show you articles where the scientists quoted by the media were saying there was a 90% certainty of these things happening, 50,000 square kilometres of Australia's coastline being inundated, and it hasn't happened. So my position is we have every right to be sceptical about what the extent of any climate change may be. More importantly, though, for this discussion, we can be very sceptical about whether we should totally trash the Australian economy when the projections haven't come true. The science is settled, they say. Well, I say that's baloney. It hasn't been settled. It's still open to question.
Authorised by Dr. John Humphreys, Liberal Democratic Party, Brisbane.